The purpose of this video is to show you how to swap out your front tension assembly, and I'm going to show you both how to swap it out with an existing one. It's not a bad idea to have one of these on hand. They're $20 and easy to slide in if you need it, and then you can get it to your dealer to rebuild it at a later time, or I'll show you how to actually rebuild this for just a couple of dollars. It should be part of your yearly maintenance, or even every 6 months if you use the machine a lot. This spring goes up and down every single stitch and is really working hard, and it can break or get a notch cut in it, which will affect your tension and cause thread breaks. So these are things that you should be doing on a regular basis. To remove this from your machine, go ahead and just unthread it. And at 4 o'clock over here, there's a 1/16 inch screw, Allen wrench screw, and you have one of these Allen wrenches that came with your machine. And at the 4 o'clock point, you just insert it, turn it a quarter of a turn, and that unit will slide out. To rebuild this unit, you're going to need a small screwdriver, 2 felt pads, a check spring from Gammill. The felt pads are 50 cents each, the check spring is $1. And if you have the heavier weight spring, you might want to replace it with a finer spring just to be able to fine-tune the tension. The heavy weight is kind of overkill and can be hard to loosen up the tension on this unit. So we'll start by taking this apart. You're going to remove the white cap. It just unscrews. And you can see that the bottom of this cap has teeth in it. And those teeth are going to align with the teeth on this washer. So they'll go teeth to teeth. And then there's the spring. And this particular one already has a lightweight spring in it. So, and then you have a washer that spring sits in perfectly. So if that spring is in position, it doesn't fall out of that washer, where if this is upside down, it doesn't really have any place to rest. So you want to leave those in the right orientation. And then you have a felt pad. This unit that the thread sits in. Another felt pad, and these felt pads will be really grimy if you haven't done this for a little while. To remove this check spring from this unit, you just simply loosen this screw and slide out this whole post. And you'll notice on this post that there's a notch cut into it, and that's going to align with the spring in just a minute. And you grab the spring with the screwdriver and just kind of walk it out. Just kind of feed it out backwards. Okay. So to reassemble this, what you're going to do is to start with the check spring, the new check spring, and you just feed it into that slot and catch that and you roll it around, and then when you get close to being inside the shaft, you just kind of give it a little push and it'll drop in there. Now if you look inside there, you can see a little tab on this side, and that's what that notch is going to align with. So if you drop that down into there, you can feel it align, and that's going to be how we set the tension on this check spring. But first we're just going to leave the whole unit vertical and rebuild it. So I would have my felt pad, and then another felt pad, the washer that the fat bottom spring sits in, and the spring has a little notch that's going to go between that notch on that post. And then the washer with the teeth. And I sort of hold everything down and then put this on. And make sure you don't cross thread this, so it should spin on there quite easily. And the position you want to start in is that this is even with the post. Now if I put this sideways, everything would fall apart because nothing's been set yet. So we want to set the tension on the spring at this point. Okay, to set the proper tension on this, what you're going to want to do is move the straight part of this spring to the far right of this notch. And then you'll angle it to where you can look at this angle, and then you see these little single windows. And I'm going to turn the whole unit about 2 windows to set that spring tension. And the tension should feel like the tension if you're moving the top of your ear down. That cartilage on the top of your ear is about the same tension for that. If it's too tight, you're going to see the stitches in the corners like of a leaf in the tip of the leaf, the stitches from the bobbin will be pulling to the top, and if it's too loose you'll see occasional loops on the back of it. So that feels about right, so I'm going to tighten this screw, and that locks the whole unit in place. So now it's ready to slide back in the machine. When we slide it into the machine, we're going to insert it to where we can see a dime width of the shaft on this side of this notch, or this side of the slot where the spring moves up and down. And so we'll be sliding it into the machine to about that point. I'll show you when we get over to the machine. So when this is inserted in the machine, the bottom of the U shape on this spring is going to go halfway between this thread guide and this thread guide. And again, we want that dime width of the shaft showing when it's inserted. So you just slide that in, and this bottom of that divides those 2 points, and then you can see the dime width of the shaft showing here. And you just, wrong Allen wrench, insert that, put the Allen wrench in the back, do a clockwise turn, just a quarter turn, it locks that whole unit in, and you're ready to go. So get used to feeling this spring as you're just doing your general maintenance and threading, and you'll quickly learn kind of the appropriate tension on that spring. That's easy. So for a couple bucks, you're back in business.